Hey everybody, how's it going? What's up? How's your world? Right, I'm going to pause the recording for just one sec while I get us hooked. Resume the recording. Hi everybody. Let's get started with our breathing. Let's get started by centering into this minute, this moment, this very one right here. This is the only one we got of these. Oh, look, here it is, reminding me that time is happening now. Time is your friend. Time loves you. Time is here just to remind you that you have all the time in the world. Time is here to help you notice your life, to help you appreciate the passage of your life. Oh, like here, wait. All right, you ready? Settle back into your wherever you are. Maybe move your body a little bit. Be like, oh yeah, this is a different thing. This little half hour here on Thursdays, or whenever you're watching this. You ready? Let's inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ah, that's just like heaven. Just a little bit of heaven. So, hi everybody. Whether you are here with me live on Zoom because you're in my community, because you've joined my email list at therealsambennett.com, which you haven't done, you should totally do, therealsambennett.com. Or you're watching us live on Facebook, or you're watching the recordings on Facebook, or later on YouTube or LinkedIn, or some other point in time. How marvelous that we can all be together in this bubble right now, wherever you are in time and space. I want to talk today about impossible things, because I happen to know that you all are experts at doing impossible things. You have skills and talents that other people don't even know are a thing. I'm sure you've had this experience where you have done something even without really thinking about it, and then had the rest of the world go, wait, you did what? You did that? You did that? You did that? You just did that? You just made that? You just figured that out? You just designed that? You just built that? You just solved that? You just remedied that? You just healed that? You just, huh? And they look at you like, huh? And here's probably one of the problems, problem maybe number one, is they go, huh? And you're like, I'm a freak. Clearly, I am not well inside of my mind. Something's wrong with me. I'm weird. And you are. I mean, all the best people are. But you're unusual, right? And the great news is that everybody has a zone of creative genius. Everybody on the planet has, and throughout all history and time, everyone is born with a specific area that they're just naturally great at. They don't have to look at recipes to cook. They don't have to see sheet music to hear something and play it. They don't have to measure everything to know how it's going to fit. They just know, they just do it. They don't have to get up the courage to go exploring. They just go exploring. And I think it's part of the magic of humans, of us as animals, as us as a species, that we are designed to live in a group. We can't live alone. We have no defense. we're big, but we're soft, Pardon me. And but when you get even two of us in a group, or 5 or 10 or 20, we start to see these complementary skill sets come together. And it's so great that, like, not everybody is gifted at healing, because then what? You'd have 20 healers and no one to grow the food, or 20 people to grow the food and no one to look after the children, or everybody looking after the children and no one attending to the spiritual needs of the group, right? But somehow And it really is like magic because it happens in every single group. You remember this. You remember this from your college dorm. You remember this from your kindergarten class. You remember this from your own family, your group of friends. Like everybody has their little thing, that they're just great, that they bring to the group, that they're able to contribute to the group. And like I said, they're just naturally great at it. And other people can learn it, of course, but they're going to have to work at it, right? Your zone of creative genius, you did not have to work at it. You never had to work at it. I remember one of the first times I was officially cast in a play. I was in, I think I was 8 or 9. I was at sleepaway camp. My family was very big on sleepaway camp. And I was at Camp Weehawken in Winter, Wisconsin. And we did a production of Hattie's Hat Shop. And I got cast as Hattie. It's one of those little plays that they make for kids to do. And I don't, maybe it was a 15-minute play. I don't think it was a full production. I think it was just like a little scene. But I remember them asking me, did I want to write down my blocking? With your blocking is how you move around the stage. Like she gets up, she goes, she answers the door, she comes back, she sits down. And I was like, no, like, why would I? It made perfect sense to me. Like, how could I not remember? Of course I would remember. They're like, do you need, help learning your lines? I'm like, no, I know my lines. I know everybody's lines. Like, it never occurred to me, like, learn lines. Why would I learn lines? I already know them. And I often say that it's one of the things I always loved about being an actor and about being in the theater is from minute one, I understood almost everything there was to know about performing as a character in front of an audience. Obviously, my understanding sophisticated a lot over the years. There was a lot of things to learn still, but the basics of it, the fundamentals of it, like, I didn't need any of that explained to me. I got that. And those of you who sing are the same way, right? You just knew how to sing, right? You learned more technique, you learned more about it, your knowledge deepened and sophisticated, but nobody had to tell you, you knew. So what I want to point out to you is, so everyone, like I said, everyone has these zones of creative genius, and highly creative people have multiple zones of creative genius. There's a lot we're really good at, and sort of mystically good at, like in a way that really confuses other people and confuses ourselves. I have to tell you guys, for years, I was well into my, I was almost 40, I think, before I started thinking that maybe I could think of myself as a writer, even though I had made a living writing. But I thought I wasn't a real writer because I didn't outline and I didn't really revise. I don't really edit. I'm kind of a first draft writer. And I thought that made me not really a writer. And every time I read something about like how to write a book or how to write this or how to write this, I was like, oh my God, this seems so hard. Who would do this? This is awful. I must not be very good at this. Not understanding that when it's your zone of creative genius, you can kind of skip a lot of the preliminaries. Like, I mean, you might want to learn what the rules are anyway, just so you know what you're going to break. But like, and when you are in your zone of creative genius, you can do things differently than everybody else has to do them. You don't have to do things the same way everybody else does. You don't need to outline. You don't need to revise. You don't need to prep. You don't need to do all the stuff that everybody else needs to learn how to do. Because all that teaching is for people who don't have the natural gift and they need to learn the step by step in order to get to the understanding. You have the understanding. Do you get me? You feel what I'm saying? So, and like I said, but then we have two problems. One, we think it's too easy. I must not be very good at this. Or two, it makes me weird. And we don't want to be weird because that might get us kicked out of the group and then we'd be alone and then we would be out on an ice floe all by ourselves. Okay. Hi, everybody. People are chiming in on the chat. Nice to see you all. Lori says, oh yeah, the editing process confused me. I thought if I didn't write it right the first time, because that's mostly what happened, then it just went into the garbage. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it turns out, I mean, I love being edited. I love having somebody else go through my writing and be like, this isn't very clear, or this isn't very funny, or this, I don't know what you mean here, or this is good, say more about this. That's really helpful to me, but I don't, I mean, I read things through and it's not true. I do edit a little bit, but it's pretty light. It's pretty light. Mostly what you get in the emails and stuff is pretty much what I wrote the first time. Shirley says, yes, it makes it hard to choose what to do first. It certainly does. It certainly does. And it makes other people, think that maybe you're kind of a dilettante, or maybe you're flighty, or you can't decide on things, but that's not true. You just have a lot. You're just good at a lot of things. You're allowed to be good at a lot of things. You're a blessing to the world because you're good at a lot of things. And you don't have to monetize every goddamn thing, right? Not everything is a career or a money-making opportunity. Some things we want to do just for the joy, right? And I want to just show you the other side of this too. I'm friends with a lot of professional musicians and a lot of really outstanding, like Broadway star, national and international level performers and musicians. And whenever it comes up of like, oh, Sam, do you play? Do you sing? And I always say, not really, no. I've been known to sing, but no, not really. And my friends, because they love me, are always like, no, you have a great voice. You're a great singer. And I'm like, I'm not. And I'm not trying to like run down my own ability. But what I know and what I notice is I have no natural understanding of music at all. I have studied music since I was a little girl. I had piano lessons. I took guitar lessons. I was in chorus in school. I sang in church choir my whole life. I can kind of read music, but like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. My friends who are musicians, they just know it. They have it in them. And I'm like, I have to work for it every time. And I don't always trust what's going to come out. Like I can't trust my own instrument because I don't feel grounded in it. You know what I mean? And I bet if I really dug in and spent the 10,000 hours, I would get there, but I never wanted to. So I was happy to keep it as worship, happy to keep it as something that, I sing for myself, I sing for fun, I sing in the car, but I'm not going to sing in public, and I'm certainly not going to charge anybody to hear me sing. So that's the other distinction I've sometimes made. You might have heard me tell this story is back in the days when all my friends were having babies, I used to make everybody a cashmere sock monkey as a baby present. And I loved making the cashmere sock monkeys, and they were adorable. And every baby shower, people were like, oh my God, they're amazing. You should sell these. And I was like, oh no, I just make these for fun. I don't want to have to make them, I don't adore the process of making them. I can't do it without thinking about it. Like it's a gift. It's a present for me to the baby. That's the end of the story. So I say only this, just so that you can feel, it's okay for you to categorize things in this way and say like, this is something I do for love and for pleasure. This is something I do, I cook for fun, but I'm not going to pressure myself to do anything more with it than that. But then there are things that you really could make a living off of or augment your current situation with, right? And if you can do it with the things that you do effortlessly, how great is that? Right? You do the things that you do easily without thinking about it, without struggling, that you could do anytime, any day, even if you had a cold or a hangover, like you could still do it. That's a great thing to make some extra money off of. I had a client one time who had a real gift for interior design. And she's told me, she said, she goes, ever since I was a little kid, I could walk into any room and be like, that should be over there. That should go out. That should hang there. And what if we did this over here? And I'm like, you can do that? I cannot do that. I have no gift for interior design at all. She was like, yeah. And she was also really interested in relationships. And I think she had been trained maybe as a relationship coach. And she lived in an area where there was a lot of tech software and tech people employed. So we came up with this business plan for her where she could work with men who would, they were professional, engineers and computer guys, software guys, VC guys who had money, and they wanted to make an apartment that maybe was not too scary for women, like an apartment that might attract a partner to them or help attract a partner to them. And I was like, this is genius. Like to be able to use your understanding of dating and your understanding of interior design to help men specifically create an apartment that's going to attract a partner to them. That's awesome. And you can charge almost anything you want for that. I had another client who was an astrologer, and also a comedian. And she was like, I can't make these things go together. I'm like, you have to make these things go together. Oh my God, if I had an astrologer who was also hilarious. I remember doing a training in Atlanta one time. I got flown in, and it was this group of accountants. And we were talking about exactly this, like, how do you make your accounting practice special? How do you make it stand out? How do you market it? And this woman was like, I'm super sarcastic, and my sense of humor can be kind of rude. I'm like, if you don't start marketing yourself as, the world's most obnoxious accountant, like the world's sassiest accountant, the world's most sarcastic accounting are us. I'm like, that's brilliant. Brilliant. Everybody wants an accountant that they could talk to, that they could laugh with. It's not going to like make them feel stupid. Who can say, I know this doesn't make any sense, but here's what the tax law is, right? I mean, that's amazing. So whether you're looking at combining the things you do effortlessly or just leaning into the things you do effortlessly, I want you to know that you're going to feel like, I can't charge for that. It's so easy for me. I want you to know you can charge 10 times what everybody else charges because it's so easy for you. You get me? You hearing me? You feeling me? All right. Leslie says, helpful reminders about properly trained versus just going for it. Right, exactly. And I don't mean to disrespect the time and effort people learn and put into learning to do things properly. I think that's important too. Let's see. When folks would walk by my former home and ask, who is the artist who lives here? I would always deflect because I knew I was not a trained artist, even though an excellent creator of beauty, and there's joy in that. Fucking those deflections. How about receiving the compliments with thank you or glad you like it? Me too. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I remember when I first thought of the name, the Organized Artist Company, I had just thought I had this, spontaneous idea to create a business. And I thought, I could call it the Organized Artist Company. And I thought, well, I'm not an artist. And I thought, oh, but I'm a performer. Performers are artists. And it took a little bit of doing. And I was like, oh, I think I need to start to learn how to own that phrase. I'm not even that organized. I'm like, everyone's organized in some manner. And that's really how the business was born, is this idea that helping highly creative people do things their own way, because God knows you're not going to do it anybody else's way. So, yeah, Shirley says, music is my husband's native environment, not mine. Right. That's fine. And that's great. Speaking as someone with an art degree, says Julie, formal art training does not stop you from deflecting when someone calls you an artist. Imposter syndrome runs deep, gang. Yeah, no lie, right? Maybe that's from Veronica. Hi, Julie, great to see you. So what I'm wondering about is, where is something where you're feeling stuck around, and how can you leverage your gift for the impossible? Right. I had a meeting with a new financial advisor the other day, and I'm really excited about working with these people. They're really smart, and they seem to sort of get me in what I do, which as an entrepreneur is unusual. And they had created sort of a plan for me to get where I want to go financially. And there were a lot of big numbers there. There were a lot of big numbers. And my advisor was like, so how are you feeling about all this? And I said, I feel fine. I said, I do really well under intense financial pressure. That's something I learned about myself as an entrepreneur. I didn't know that about myself until I started the business. But it turns out, like, if you tell me you need to make $50,000 by next week, I'm like, okay, let's do it. So big numbers don't scare me. And I know impossible things happen all the time. And I know there's an infinite amount of money out there. There's no reason not to bring it in. It's a little, apparently I need a reason to bring it in. Like, I won't just do it to do it. I'll do it. But if you tell me this has to happen, then I'll do it. So I'm psyched. I'm psyched about bringing that money in. And I'm psyched about what that means in terms of the things I can offer to people, and the kinds of people I can work with, and the ways in which I can work with people. Yeah, it means going deeper and trying some new stuff, which I think is going to be exciting. So where are you holding yourself back? Where are you not doing the things that you do naturally? Where could you monetize something that you do naturally? What's the thing that just seems too stupid, obvious for you to even think about? Because I'm there to tell you, stop right there. If you're like, well, that's dumb, stop right there, because that's your $1 billion idea. Jane is asking, can you mention quick ways to shed imposter syndrome? Sure. Stop believing everything you think. That's probably the quickest way to get rid of imposter syndrome. Stop believing everything you think. And trust the world a little bit. You know, have a little faith in the world. If you screw up, they'll tell you. They'll tell you. I just submitted my new book proposal. I just submitted my new book proposal yesterday. And as it turned out, I thought I had gone through and removed all the comments that my agent had left, but apparently I left one in because it got sent back to us with like, oh, there's still a comment in here. Did you want to take a look at that? And I was like, oh, crapsies. Sorry. I thought I went through it all, but apparently I missed one. Fixed it, sent it back. Like, now, am I going to take that as a sign that I'm a failure as a writer? No, I made a mistake. It happens, especially with digital documents. It happens. You know, I'm not going to sit here and beat myself up for not being perfect when I already know I'm not perfect. And again, I can trust that the world knows I'm not perfect too, right? It's like driving a car. You know, if you're driving poorly, the rest of the drivers will let you know. And if you're driving poorly to the extent that you're dangerous, the other drivers will let you know. The authorities will let you know. But you can, as long as you're getting from one place to the other safely, you can pretty much assume you're fine. The other thing you can do, here's two things. I'm thinking back when I was really eaten up by anxiety and perfectionism. One was something my friend Margaret taught me to do, which is to take a love song and sing it to yourself. Sing it to you about you. You're the only one for me. You're the most beautiful girl in the world. I love every move you make, every breath you take, you know, like just sing it to you about you, just to amp up your own level of inner appreciation, and also because it's fun. Baby, baby, I can't live without you, baby. You know, pretty good. The other thing you can do is just because you're running a tape, right? You know, we get habituated. We start to, we have a thought, we have the thought again, we have the thought the third time, the 10th time, the 50th time, and then it's just a neural pathway. It's like, it's a habit. You have it almost reflexively. So break it a little bit. You can break it by putting the word sometimes at the end. We've talked about that before. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. Sometimes. I'm so stupid sometimes. I'm so smart sometimes. Ugh, I make all these mistakes. I make all these mistakes sometimes. I always forget everybody's name. I always forget everybody's name sometimes. Right? And you can even keep going. I always forget everybody's name sometimes. And I have a good eye for color and a nice smile. Ugh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot sometimes. And I have a spotless driving record and I made cashmere sock monkeys. Right? I mean, just break your own pattern is what I'm saying. And go with what is actually true. You know, I'm so stupid. Is that true? Can we actually know that that's true? You're so stupid sometimes. Like me sending the thing with the comment still in it. Derp. I show back crapsies. So sorry. Here you go. Right? Moving on. Next. Okay. This is great. I can help people who have so much money. They have run out of purpose for why they have so much. I can find purpose for their money that will bring them happiness. Oh, amen. Amen. And I have to say, working with people who have a lot of money is really, can be really joyful and satisfying. Partly because they don't always feel comfortable asking for help. They have that feeling of like, I have so much money. How could I, it's not okay for me to want things. It's not okay for me to feel less than. It's not okay. What do I have to complain about? But they crave meaning and spiritual purpose in their life in the same way that everybody does. They also tend to, find the right ones and remember, look them in the eye, charge them, a good solid price, and keep their secrets. Don't spread their business all over town. That's one thing that wealthy people tend to be quite sensitive about, and rightly so. Beth says, I'm not marketing myself or putting myself out there because I don't know, but I'm here, but I'm so glad to disrupt the tapes. Yeah, exactly. Judy says, no big deal to leave a comment in a document. The editor, whoever sent it back to you, just have it deleted without sending it back to you or even mentioning it. Yeah, they certainly could have. It was fairly innocuous comment. I don't think anybody was that upset about it. But 20 years ago, I would be in bed for 3 days. Like, I would not be able to bounce back from that. Lori says, I have no memory sometimes. I know, me too. I always joke around that nobody has to worry about me writing a tell-all memoir because I don't remember anything. Except sometimes. Sometimes some things I remember very clearly. So this is your invitation to lean into that which is effortless for you and that which is impossible for others. It's okay that it's impossible for others. They do things that are impossible for you, and there's plenty of everyday, ordinary things that I can't do. I can bring in big thwacks of money. I can write books. I can create material. I can perform anytime, any day, but I can't ride a bike and I can't have a birthday party. And I was one of the, less than 10% of women who've never been pregnant and couldn't get there. So, everybody's got their thing. Everybody's got their thing. Claire says, in honor of Burt Bacharach, rest in peace. Burt Bacharach died? Oh no. Did that just happen? He hasn't been dead, has he? Oh my goodness. We'll start singing Close to You to myself. Yes, sing Close to You to yourself. Close to you. Just, oh, that's sad. He was an amazing talent. I also read the biography of Marvin Hamlish. I love reading showbiz autobiographies. It's one of my favorite things to do. Shirley Winters, if you have to start with anybody, read Shirley Winters's, because she had sex with everybody. It's amazing. Beautiful. All right. Now I just want to be close to you. So I will see you all next Thursday. Those of you who are in Get It Done Lab, keep working, spend that 50 minutes a day. Those of you who aren't in Get It Done Lab, 15 minutes a day on the thing that you're extraordinary at. If nothing else, it'll just light you up. And that's what we need, an illuminated you. You ready? Let's do one more breath to close out this circle. Wait, did I miss anything? Julie says, I have a line I tell myself when I make a math error. But just ask me to spell something. This I always say to myself with a smile. Yes, exactly. We can't do everything, but we can do some things. And we can do some things extraordinarily well. And that's your gift. You didn't ask to be that way. That was given to you. What do we do with gifts? We give them. And we charge fairly for them. Fairly like. Okay, you ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for doing this with me. You all are amazing.